Welcome to NC Political Tea, the show where North Carolina's political scene gets served piping hot, grassroots style. We're here to shake up the status quo with unapologetically conservative takes and a whole lot of Southern charm. From the halls of Congress to under the dome, we're exposing the deals, the drama, and the dirt that the mainstream media won't touch. Who's fighting for your freedom? Who's selling out to the woke mob? And who's about to get roasted? No fluff, no filters, and absolutely no time for spineless politics. Just bold Republican commentary, sharp analysis, and enough sass to make the left squirm. So grab your sweet tea or something stronger, and let's dive into the hottest headlines and juiciest scandals rocking the Tar Heel State. This is NC Political Tea, where the truth always gets served.
That's all we need to know.
What about
There's absolutely no cognitive...
What about Melissa Hortman that we just
talked about? You want to talk about Melissa Hortman? Did you know her name before it happened? None of us did. None of us were spending every single day talking about Mrs. Hortman. I never heard of her until after she died.
She doesn't matter?
Don't play that bullshit with me. You know what I'm saying is there was no demonization, amplification about that woman before she died. It was a specific crime against her by somebody who knew her. The same. Now you could bring up Josh Shapiro, but then you will not bring up, for example, that was a pro-Palestine person. So don't use your. What about this? The fact of the matter is the both sides argument not only doesn't fly, we don't care. We don't care about your both sides argument. That shit is dead. For one thing, there is no cognitive dissonance on our side. On your side, your beliefs do not match reality, so you're coming up with these rationalizations like, what about this or what about that? We're not doing that because we saw it happen. We saw a young, bright man assassinated, and we know who did it. We are not coming up with rationalizations. We are calm, we are honest, and we are resolute. We're not defensive, and I understand the defensiveness. I understand why people are saying, what about this and what about this? Because if you have to face the underlying fact to this, your life is going to fall apart because you're going to realize you're not the good guys. If you sat around and you defended the mutilation of children, you're not the good guys. If you sat 600, 700 cases of harassment against Republicans and you said, but what about this? What about this? And then you see this murder after calling somebody a fascist, you realize maybe I'm not the good guy.
Yeah. Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Good. Good. So it's been a week since the horrific assassination of Charlie Kirk. And there's been a lot going on. I mean, we've, revealed that primarily healthcare workers and teachers have been celebrating. And there's just and equivocating. As a Jewish person, family in Israel, I can tell you what we've always said. You cannot deal with terrorists. You cannot sit across the table from people that call you all of these names, Nazis, fascists, and wish you death. There's no negotiation. And I think in this country, on the right, we're starting to see that with our countrymen.
Well, I'm just going to give you the same speech I've given everybody. You are free to have free speech, but you're not free of the consequences of free speech. And people do not realize there is a First Amendment, but you know what else there is? Human resource policies. That's what there is. And those are different from your First Amendment right. And go ahead and try to defend that. You did something heinous to an HR lady who's gone after people for years for things and not think that you're not going to get the same treatment we got. Because I got to tell you something, inclusivity goes two ways.
Well, if a BLM prominent activist had been murdered and we would have, you in a corporate workplace would have taken to social media and said, I'm glad this happened and I have no empathy and that's what you get for running your mouth. Most of us don't expect to have a job.
No, listen, none of us would do that because we have human decency. We know better than to do that.
okay, so they make the argument. Maybe some would celebrate what I just said in the privacy of their own home. Okay, maybe.
Yeah, but we don't stop police that yet.
But well, right. Well, but it takes a next level. Never entered my mind unless they're terrorists, right? Unless they've actually done something and we know about it. Celebrate that a lot. But someone who disagrees with me or a different religious thought, that's what's happening.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think what you have lived forever since October the 7th, and we're all living it now. And Sloan, I don't mean to say this in any way derogatorily, but I don't think people understand what my friend has been living through, and now you do, or you're getting a taste of it. A small sliver of what I have watched my friend go through every day. And what's interesting to me is, and I'm going to say this without meaning anything derogatory by it, people don't know you're Jewish by looking at you. They just don't. Just like they don't know you're a Christian or you're a conservative. But now the costume's been torn, and it doesn't matter because we're all seeing it play out.
Yeah. Well, people know because of my speech.
Right.
So what I identifier. That's right.
But not by looking at you. Like,
people didn't know. Right. People didn't know that Charlie was a Christian, but you're right, because I have had a number of people call me and say, I am not comfortable going to my GOP meeting. And I've told them, now, unfortunately, you understand what Jews have been going through, not wanting to go to our shul on Saturday mornings, or not wanting to go. Rosh Hashanah is coming up next week. That's our, Harris Teeter. That's right. But it's and it's unfortunate. And by the way, everyone with a prominent conservative voice has a target on their back.
Yeah. And those of us who put our face out there, most especially, you can say the words, but when you put it on video, oh no, it's a special kind of come after you.
We know that, and we have been signaling and putting out there the name and face of Carrie Donovan, who is just one of a concern, right? Of someone. I mean, when you're in public life and you're on video, etc., you do have political stalkers, and we do have to take action. And so we've named them, but we're doing that because we're encouraging others who have podcasts in the state or whatever. We need to come together and keep each other safe, and we need to identify radicalism, whatever side it's on, when we see it.
Well, and the sad part is, you would think that people in our own party would be helpful, but that's not the way it works. As a matter of fact, it's like gang violence in the GOP, literally.
It might be changing, and I think there's been hopefully some calls for that. But you're right, and actually, by way of illustration, I'm going to give you right now, as of yesterday, how much, I don't know if it's strife, but differentiation there is in the party. Tom Tillis, I hazard to say that he is part of our party, but
an embarrassing part.
Here's what he had to say in the Kash Patel hearing. Yeah.
Shooting. We had the guy that does the podcast for the War Room and another guy who's denied the Sandy Hook shootings say we're at war.
The podcast is called War Room, jackass, but continue.
Now, how on earth, and I do believe it's a smaller number, but it's a number that has an influence. How on earth are we de-escalating the situation? And with the tensions as high as they were last week, with going out and saying we're at war. I'm not asking you to respond to this question. I'm just saying that there are people out here on our side of the aisle that still need to look in the mirror. Even if you agree that it's a lower number, bad is bad, no matter how many numbers they are. And that kind of rhetoric and that kind of mobilization makes your job more difficult and puts us in a position where we're not being as productive as you want. God,
he looks bad.
What the fuck? What is he talking about?
Oh, that's his way of being mealy mouth. He's going to say, we shouldn't do that. They did it, but we shouldn't do that. Guess what? Obviously, he doesn't think much of Christians who are being targeted, or conservatives that are being targeted.
If you're a Christian or Jew and you do not feel that there is a war on you, then you're not paying attention.
Well, he's neither.
I mean,
He's not.
by the way, that was less than a week out after Charlie Kirk's murder. 2 weeks before that, there was another person that did something in the name of trans that shot innocent, beautiful Catholic children.
Kids.
So we have a Catholic, multiple shootings by this same movement. Charlie Kirk, who is a self-proclaimed and practicing Christian, right? Who, I mean, if you think we're not at war, then you'd be a fool and you would be woefully unprepared. I mean, he tries to promulgate this idea that he's the pious one. He's the middle ground. But he is every bit of a target as we are.
Oh, you know what he said in his little documentary on Spectrum. He said, they can try to come for me, like his macho man. Let me just say this about Tom Tillis. What a demeaning way to put it, Tommy. Do you know Charlie Kirk actually said you need to vote for Tom Tillis? And look at this guy, not even acknowledging Charlie's death. Instead, we need to stop the hate and bring the volume down. Go get on your bike trail, buddy.
Well, that's the second time he said it, but he wanted to grandstand. But I'm glad that Congressman Schmidt had, luckily, something else to say, and it was completely opposite.
Years
Thank God.
Years of the left, their loudest voices calling anyone on the right extremists, MAGA Republicans, fascists, Nazis, an existential threat to democracy. Check yourself, and don't give me this both sides bullshit. Mr. Director, I want to ask you, the man who tried to kill Republican congressman at the congressional baseball practice, nearly killing House Majority Leader Steve Scalise, left-wing or right-wing violence?
Sir, I believe it was a left-wing ideology.
Okay. Burned down cities during the Summer of Love in the George Floyd riots, left-wing violence or right-wing violence? Left-wing. The Waukesha Christmas Parade massacre, left-wing or right-wing violence? Left-wing. The Lee Zeldin stabbing attempt, left-wing or right-wing? Left-wing. The Covenant school shooting in Nashville, left-wing or right-wing? Left-wing. The Butler, Pennsylvania assassination attempt on President Trump, left-wing or right-wing? Left-wing. The Trump International West Palm Beach assassination attempt, left-wing. The Abundant Life Christian school shooting, left-wing. The United Care CEO's murder, left-wing. Tesla's burned, keyed, damaged, firebombed, left-wing, left-wing. The murders at the Israeli embassy, left-wing. The ICE facilities firebombed, left-wing. The Minnesota Catholic school shooting, left-wing. The anti-white Charlotte and North Carolina stabbing, left-wing. The attempted Utah News State firebombing, left-wing. And now, of course, the culmination of this vile trend, a left-wing assassination of Charlie Kirk.
I mean, covers it. And by the way, you didn't hear about this, but I think the day after, maybe the same day or the day after, there was a bomb that was planted by two Islamist Muslims underneath a Fox News truck, and they were charged with weapons of mass destruction, etc. So there was an attempted terror attack. But the point is, and by the way, I had the misfortune of being at two of the things he named. Sadly, the DC embassy incident, and I was right there at the Palm Beach incident. And actually, funny thing is, my brother-in-law is the chief public defender in West Palm Beach right now with this Ruth case. So it's all, the bullets are flying in one direction. And if they weren't, you and I would be the first ones to be out there calling it out. We would all be.
Well, I think that Republicans, a lot of them, not me, have really remained meek and mild. And in the face of all of this, but I just want to say one thing before we move on, and that is, but Republicans are the same ones that thought Mark Robinson was a bad guy. You clutched your pearls when CNN, who does nothing but lie for the left, put some defamatory lies up and said, oh, we can't vote for him because you buy into it just as bad. Y'all won't stand up for your own people. You get what you deserve.
Yeah, you're right. We cannot come together with someone like Tom Tillis, who is all of his enemies. He's drawn a circle of enemies, and all of them happen to be within inside the Republican Party. And ironically, they happen to be people like you and I that insist upon, people doing what they say they're going to do in elections. In other words, they're not rhinos.
No. And let me just say, I'm going to say this out loud because nobody will say it. Thank God for Michelle Woodhouse, who lost her job over censuring Tom Tillis. She is a true patriot because she's not afraid to use her voice. And you know what they did to her? They took her out of office. That's what they did. The NCGOP did, because she was a threat to them, because she was looking at the numbers.
Look, we're a threat. I've been called a bomb thrower and all kinds of other shit by the people inside the GOP. And the reason is
my kid.
The reason is I exposed the fact that they're opening the borders and they're bringing in doctors from God knows where. And because I care about people staying alive. So in other words, you know, you have to be able to take a punch. If you're in politics and you're in elected office, right? And we come for you, right? First of all, correct us if we don't have the facts straight. But again, I think we're at 5 weeks out since I exposed that story to begin with about the foreign doctors. Not one correction has been asked for.
Oh, no, we're getting that hell beat out of us by our own party. No, thank you from either side for looking out for all of North Carolinians, because it's not about left or right in this issue.
Well, it's about life or death. And that's, you know, really what we're going to be talking about. When it's about life or death, I don't believe there is any politics. You don't believe there is any politics.
No.
And I really wish more people felt that way. So let's talk about the actual killer, because we've been, you know, referring to, we knew from day 2 that there were inscribed bullets, right? That were, you know, something about Troons. Troon is a man who wants to be a woman, right? So it's
Troons
about
and Antifa
and furries, which are grown ass people wearing
costumes,
a onesie of a lion
or a doggy costume.
Yeah. First we were told his parents are Republican. He was raised Republican. He's a religious person, etc. And then it's a right winger. And then we found out that his live-in boyfriend or live-in girlfriend has a penis. Then we figured out, right, exactly what was going on. And so this is yesterday. What the prosecutor said while he's reading the text messages out, just for our own edification to see what the background of this person we're dealing with.
Roommate, why? Robinson, why did I do it? Roommate, yeah. Robinson, I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. If I am able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence.
Okay. Motive.
Like, I guess my concern with that is, how mentally disturbed do you have to be to say some hate can't be, whatever?
You're not mentally disturbed. You're not mentally disturbed because you planned it. And you're not mentally disturbed because of the thing he said right after. And if I can just retrieve my gun, I'm going to get away with this. So any mental health Hail Mary the defense is planning to do, it's not going to work. The level of planning, he didn't want to be caught. He worked his ass off not to be caught. So,
okay, one more question for you. I listened to that whole exchange and the part about look under the keyboard. Do you honestly believe that guy, girl, whatever it is, didn't know anything was going on and said, I wondered what you were doing playing with those bullets? Really?
No, I don't. I don't, but I do think he's in a shitload of trouble. And this is why. Because there is no note. There's a picture of the note. And that means the note was torn up or something happened to that note. So I think that they're probably trying to leverage this guy. I think, you know, he probably had to be questioned. I never heard that he willingly went to the police. I mean, when they say he's cooperating now with investigations, it might be because his lawyer has told him you had better. So, I mean, I'm not an expert, but I mean, my opinion is he did. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so funny because you get online and people are like, I don't think this is what they said. I'm sorry, but I have a 30-something-year-old kid, and that's exactly how they talk. Love, this, that. But what doesn't make sense to me is my kid, she would never let somebody be in the same house with her without knowing what the hell they were doing every 5 minutes.
Well, I mean, there's two dudes dating each other. Guys are not exactly honed in on what you're doing all the time. In fact, they're hardly ever listening. So, I mean, two guys dating each other and wearing earphones and playing their games and pruning out or furrying out or whatever. I don't know.
It's just crazy.
I mean, I really don't know. But what I do know is that there is a militant faction of trans. Mr. Andy No has been covering it for quite a long time, and it is undeniable. So there's a group that's now reportedly under investigation by the FBI, and it's or soon to be, and it's needs to happen. And we're going to talk about this type of radical faction in our own state because we have got to counter it. So this is Armed Queers SLC. And this is the stuff that they put up on campuses, etc. Now, if you put up, and I'm going to tell you right now, Christian resistance and somebody with an AK or a AR, what do you think would happen?
Oh, we would be at the FBI headquarters immediately. Immediately. And there would be no ifs, ands, or buts. And they might charge you before they realize what you did.
The campus would probably be burnt to the ground. I'm telling you. And the National Guard would be called in. Or how about this? Jewish resistance. How about that?
Yeah. Yeah, the rules for the you, but not for me. I'm just over it.
Let me put this up again. In what world do you get to hang something like this up on campuses in this country and that to be okay? When they say queer resistance, they leave no doubt about what they're talking about. Now, I'll tell you a little story. The other night, I was just trolling around the internet and I saw, oh my God, this book was just released 2 days ago. Be Gay, Do Crime, Everyday Acts of Queer Resistance and Rebellion. Given what we know about Charlie Kirk and the murder, this concerned me. Okay. And this is a troon, Blue Buchanan. She is oh my God, please forgive me.
It is.
Please forgive me. He's a John Lemon knockoff. But anyway, we'll get to that. He is a professor at UNC Asheville and a dangerous one. You're not just going to take my word for it. I'm going to show it to you. Homeboy gets $69,000. $69,000 of our taxpayer dollars per year. Now, that's not enough, though, to buy you a set of boobs.
Because he's got insurance. Don't forget he has health insurance with that.
Well, let me tell you, these guys come to North Carolina because they know our state health plan will pay for them to have a sex change surgery. So, hello, folks. My name is Blue, and I am currently raising money to get my boobs done on October 3rd. I think he's raised, what, $1,200?
Make me the deductible already.
He wants his deductible because he wants a boob job. And I'm just curious, if I want to get my boobs redone, I don't know, whatever, done, what,
You want some more?
Would I be able to pull that off on a give, send, go? I mean, who does that? Let's talk about the other part of it. Who actually donates money for anyone to get their boobs done?
Listen, what was more fascinating to me is he actually had people on his lunch and learns or whatever those, talks that are done through the University of North Carolina, Asheville's YouTube channel. There were actually people listening into his garbage because it was such gibberish. I couldn't get over it.
Yeah, I couldn't. Look, I mean, I went to Harvard. I've heard a lot of bloviating. I've heard a lot of academic whatever, but you spent about a half hour last night reading to me one of his papers. I think I understood the first, that is the only word I understood. I had no idea what it was. So, but bravo to you for helping me try to get through it.
The one thing that I'll give you the takeaways. He is truly after log cabin conservatives, which are gay Republicans.
He does not like gay white men, and I'm telling you, it scares the hell out of me. So I called gay white Republican men. So I called our dozen friends that fit into that, and I'm telling you, I warned them. I think this guy has obviously been going through hormone treatments, right? If he's ready to take the next step, and this can produce things, right? Now, this guy is a pain in the ass protester. He's fighting for transphobia in housing. He went to shut the campus down over a protest. He's just a pain in the ass, right? He's just a pain in the ass. So would it surprise you to know he's also a Hamas hole?
Oh, no, wouldn't surprise me at all. What surprises me is that we haven't seen more of his rhetoric live in Asheville, close to where I live, because it's the Portland of the South. I'm surprised I wasn't alerted to him earlier on, but now that I have been,
this is very, 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 very dangerous stuff, because again, we're seeing how violent they are. But I want you to, what do we mean by violent rhetoric? Because we deal in the business of First Amendment. So we're not moved by the canard that speech is violence, right? So I wanted to use, by way of example, Blue Buchanan in his own words and sort of deconstruct what I think might be radical, but audience, you can decide. Just listen to a snippet. I promise you, I will not make you listen to a lot of it.
This is a question for many of us about life and death. And this is a question of material struggle. As a Black trans person, seeing that North Carolina, which is where I am, is now trying to pass a parents' right to education bill, outlawing discussing sexuality and gender for kids, is saying that talking about my life is dangerous to children.
Are you a kid?
And as a Black person, seeing stuff like AP, African American education, being gutted, changed, or completely excluded, says that I am quite literally being written out of the book of the nation state.
The book of the nation state is being written out of. So when he frames it as existential threat to me, if parents have a right to what their kids learn, it is an existential threat to me.
He's so pitiful.
That's dangerous language.
It is. You know what's really sad about that is it reflects what we already know. If they can't be the victim, they get violent. And so he's validating his victimhood so that he can validate violence.
You're right. That justifies the book that he edited and just came out, Queer Resistance and Be Gay, Do Crime. That's his book, Be Gay, Do Crime. What crime is he talking about?
You know, what I read a few things he wrote last night. I also watched a couple videos. What I feel like his intention is to target white, gay, Republican men. And he says things like they try to have masculinity by being a Republican, which I think is hilarious. What? Most Republican men aren't very masculine. Just saying.
No, and they probably, the gays I know want to be left alone.
Exactly. They don't join the party to be gay in the party. They join the party to be a conservative, regardless of what their sexual predisposition is or whatever.
He's saying, if you think different than me, you're threatening my life. That's what he's saying. If you think different than me, you're threatening my life. But I want to show you this on what he says about parents and children, because I think it's illustrative of why most sane people on the right and the left do not want these kind of people or this movement around their children. Listen.
That a big part of what I'm hearing when you say respect the children is a movement that recognizes that children's autonomy is severely infringed on. And that with that infringing comes a lot of projection. Right? A lot of putting parents' wishes and desires, a lot of ignoring what children have to say or what they want for their own bodies, because that is seen as, again, dangerous, subversive. Parents need to bring their kids in line. This is also tied to a lot of religious stuff, right? So if we actually look at Christian supremacism and looking at like the idea of bringing up good children is also about disciplining them away from sinfulness, right? So frameworks that say you should trust yourself don't resonate within those kinds of frameworks.
What do you think he's talking about?
Look, he's talking about transing kids, and he's talking to me. He's talking about kids should have the mental capacity and the right to make their own choice. Let me tell you something else. He's also saying you shouldn't discipline your child. And I'm a Southern mama. I'll just tell you right now, very few times I discipline my kid, but a good whoop ass never hurt any kid.
You know, it's funny. I was picking my daughter up from flag football, and I said this around the coach, black guy, and I told my daughter, she's giving me a hard time. I said, just under my breath, and kind of jokingly, get in the car. I'm going to beat your ass, right? Because that's how we talk. But and then the coach turns around and he goes, I love it. Ass beatings are great. That's how I was raised. I wish more of these kids were. And I'm like, I know. Thank you for saying that out loud. I know.
You're lucky you didn't call CPS. You got a good one.
Duh. Give it a try. But my daughter's taller than me, so I don't think I'm going to get very far if I actually wanted to do something. And by the way, when you do discipline your children early on, there's something funny that happens because you don't have to do it when they get to be teenagers.
No.
They're just
and good children. Good children are reasonable. They reason. My daughter was really good at taking. She could figure out what the consequence was before she did the action. But it's which is interesting because what we're watching right now, this blue guy also proves it, is that they don't have any consequences for their actions. They feel like they can run their mouth with no consequences.
Well, he's going to find out. He's going to find out.
I hope so.
No, you don't get to write a book about trans violence and then justify it and do all this stuff. He's already locked down his Twitter account. But we are coming. I believe that you need to monitor someone that writes a book about be gay, do crime, queer resistance, justifying it on video repeatedly, writing 250-page essays about targeting gay, conservative, white males, which he has done. So the anger is palpable, and now he has this book. So
he sounds like a little jealous bitch.
And he's talking at best, but who knows how lethal he is. He wants us to know that he's lethal. And I think we should take them at their word. No longer are we going to ignore.
You should, but let me just say, it wouldn't take much. I'm not going to say the rest of what I was thinking. It might get me in trouble.
I love you too much. All right. So we have that at Asheville. Now we have this. I put this up. This is kind of old news, but actually, this isn't what I wanted to put up. So ECU got all this bravado about opening the largest LGBTQIA MNOP center in the UNC system. But by the way, they are the number one, Asheville's the number 2 school that is getting millions of dollars from taxpayers because they do not have enough students to fill their seats. So maybe they should stick to that. But I would also like to point out that one of their most preeminent, by the way, thank you, Majority Leader Jones, for putting up UNC Chapel Hill, put this right up after this, spends $222,650 a year in salaries for the UNC LGBTQ Center. Is that fair? No, because they don't have a straight center. I mean, what are they doing?
Listen, this segregation by label is really getting on my damn nerves. I mean, from Washington State having black dorms only to this stuff, I don't like this, what we're doing in America. And in North Carolina, we shouldn't even be doing it. It's against our Constitution.
It's against the law to do it here. So I like to hear that. I don't think we should segregate it. Anything that you can do in a gay lounge at school, I hazard to ask, but why? I mean, what? Like,
be able to do it at Pizza Hut.
Oh, God. Okay. But this is interesting and deeply dementing. So one of ECU's preeminent advocates for gay adoption and gay rights and children stuff was arrested for multiple charges of child porn and more. He was an associate professor of social work, I think he was actually a full professor by the time this happened, Blaise Navalny, right? And he wrote this study.
North Carolina.
Well, he wrote this study, you may have heard of it. Study shows no difference in children raised by gay or heterosexual parents in adoption. Now, whether or not that's true, and I know plenty of gay parents, but we know that anything that is done by a child predator
is slanted in their favor.
So this is the kind of thing that they've got going on over there. And I can tell you, we don't want to pay for it. We don't want any of it. So what they're doing too, and I reported on this, ECU, hosts safe zone training for K through 12 educators. It is for them to be able to identify children, to get them into counseling or treatment to change their gender. I do not know if this is going on now, but it was a few years ago. Check out the pledge that they want teachers to sign. I pledge to be an ally for God knows, okay, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, intersex, queer, asexual, or any other gender. Good God.
Why do they need a pledge?
I'm committed to engaging. Yeah, this is the pledge.
Is there a country of LGBTQIA? Weird. It's just weird.
This is so inappropriate to do with teachers.
Agreed.
And this is what ECU has engaged in. We know what they've also engaged in. This is a story I broke 3 years ago. This is another time that I was at loggerheads with certain members of my party, but I did it anyway, and check it out.
Duke, UNC, and ECU have these programs which allow for treatments for children that suffer gender dysphoria. The Education First Alliance exposed the experimental treatments. Founder Sloan Rackmuth and board member Dr. Nancy Anderson both join me now. Ladies, thank you so much for being with us this morning. Sloan, I want to go to you first. Tell us, you guys, your group has exposed this, but how bad is it?
Well, it's really bad. We've been told for years by the left that this isn't going on. And if it is, it's maybe 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds here and there. But it is going on. You're right. In the state of North Carolina, well known, by the way, for its wonderful medical programs, we have Duke, which transitions children at 2. We've got UNC, who transitions children at 3. And then ECU has just added a program that is saturating not only rural health communities, but also schools, and they start at 4. I mean, these big systems cover the entire state of North Carolina, and they're doing it in family medicine. That's right, your corner doctors, their aim is to turn these places into pill mills for children, as young as 2, starting with the social, and then moving with the hormones and so forth.
Can we just stop right there? I think I've done a considerable upgrade by painting my bookshelf behind me and ditching the dark glasses. Can we just agree?
Agree. Totally agree.
Okay. That was 3 years ago. So we, the taxpayers, were paying for that. And I'm going to announce right here that we're doing an in-depth investigation right now on ECU to make sure that we're not still paying for it.
Yeah. And part of that would be investigating Dr. Reeder. Again.
Yeah, Dr. Tim Reeder is a rep out of Pitt County. He actually is a doctor at ECU. And I will tell everybody that not only him, but majority leader at the time, or speaker, Tim Moore, but particularly Timothy Reeder, had a defamation campaign against me, telling everyone in the General Assembly that I was a liar, telling everyone in his area that I was a liar. And I went and I did a press conference in Greenville and got a lot of support. And he eventually admitted that I was not a liar. By the way, he also told constituents he was in favor of youth being able to transition. This is a Republican. Tim Moore was also trying to bat down rumors as well, and I caught him. So Republicans, people in my own party, were calling me a liar. This is the kind of bullshit that really irks the hell out of me, because we're talking about life and death. And now it's not just children. Now we understand that this whole trans cult is a clear and present danger to particularly every Christian,
Right.
every conservative. You could be a child in a Christian school or a Catholic school, and you are a target. We saw it in Tennessee. We saw it at this recent shooting.
Listen, I don't understand why this is still a topic that's being discussed. It's outlawed in Tennessee. Why are they not moving faster? We've outlawed it once. We're getting ready to outlaw it some more.
Well, yeah. I mean, at the end of this video for Fox News, I said that HB 808 had been stripped of everything. Republicans, some of them on the health committee, stripped it of every single thing. The next day after I did that video, it was put back, and Tim Reeder actually came out and did one of his hostage videos and admitted it was going on and advocated for the bill. And by the way, the thanks I get from Republicans is, by the way, that was
more.
The last time that I actually went after Republicans was 3 years ago. This time with the foreign doctors bill, and I'm being mean, but lives are at stake.
I'd rather be mean than milk toast.
I'd rather be mean and be able to look myself in the mirror.
Right.
But at the end of the day, Republicans are the only party. I'm going to be very honest with you. I'm going to tell you what you already know. They're the only party that can take care of this. We just need them to
do their job.
We need them to take bold action.
Do their job. And do more of it. Like, why are they so wishy-washy out there at the legislature? If you have authority, just do your job.
I think some are. I think the leadership. I think the leadership's the problem. I think the leadership in the Senate has got to go.
Well, they're putting themselves out.
Yeah, I think the leadership, and I do call people out. I think Tim Reeder is, and I wrote, he's the greatest danger to Republicans, and I was not wrong. So here's the tie-in. This is of course AI. Somebody asked me if it was AI. I'm like, are you kidding me? Yes.
Kind of looks like Harvey Specter from Suits. I'm just saying.
Oh, well, it really ties in the left and what they've done to this country, whether it's the left wing, it's DEI, right? It's the coddling of criminals, the soft on crime, and it's okay to kill people. And by the way, the media, it's okay to ignore an entire class of people. A white woman is killed by a black man we can't report. And then Charlie Kirk, if he's a troon murdered him, right? Again, oh, he's a right winger. Oh, his girlfriend has a penis. So now we know.
We'll report that assassination live shot over and over and over again, which they would never do with anybody else.
So this is symbolic of the left. Right. Their policies, okay, result in death, and they justify it, and they cover it up,
and they deflect.
By any means, right? By any means possible. It's ridiculous. And so, what's going on with the killer of Iryna Zarutska is he is in a high-class mental facility for 60 days, Margot, to be evaluated.
Well, that's probably one of his his first defense, I'd say. Would you not? That he's crazy?
It's not going to work.
Well, I've seen it. It may not work, but his lawyer has a duty to try to use that as a defense.
Well, once you see his drug reports, which I have, it shows that marijuana and cocaine were in his system. Those are two known agents that produce schizophrenic reactions.
Sounds very George Floydy to me.
Mm-hmm. And he just doesn't have one urinalysis. He's got 3 of them over time.
Oh, they did a lapse in urinalysis? So they know time lapse?
No, he's been in jail several times. So in 2021, he was in again. I mean, so, you know, that if you're a drug addict, then that's going to be your problem. And so, I mean, 60 days in an upscale facility, I have a big problem with that.
I mean, honestly, Sloan, I'm not surprised. I think that this is a way to kind of pull him off the limelight for a couple of months before the trial begins. That's my opinion.
Well, Yeah, I guess so. But, while crime is still mushrooming out of complete control, there's been consistent murders every day. There was just an illegal arrested for murder, I think, today. And here we have Tom Tillis again saying that he does not want a crime crackdown in Charlotte. Here's what he said.
I'm going to lose my mind.
I know. And you cannot make this up. You cannot dislike this guy enough. Remember, this guy lied about going to college. He didn't finish college, and that's not a crime. That's not a big deal, but he lied about it. So he had to go get something online. I'm just saying that because he acts very elitish. I hope that people don't amplify this into something. Into what? People cannot ride the CATS system in Charlotte or feel comfortable outside downtown. He lives in DC with constant protection. What an elitist jackass he is. I'm telling you.
I think there's another piece of this. He has a house outside of Charlotte near Lake Norman.
Yeah.
And of course, his city, the closest city to him, can't be all that bad, because he's from that area.
He's a pompous jackass. He hasn't seen any evidence that they're going to, but if they do, it'll be a problem for me. And to wit, I say, so effing what?
Let me just tell you what I think. Tom, go back to your trailer in Florida where you grew up. You're not a North Carolinian and you act just like you're not.
How out of touch can you be? You even have Democrats saying, you even had the prosecutor, the federal prosecutor, who is a solid guy, doesn't strike me as a partisan at all. And the head of the FBI, which came out a week ago and said, I live here. I feel this. My children aren't safe. People are not safe. This is not what we want for. I was born and raised in Charlotte. I walked to school there. This is not the Charlotte I know.
I think what's interesting to me about the whole thing is, why would you not take a drive 4 hours over to Atlanta and see how MARTA is run? And listen, there was a time MARTA was horrible, but MARTA has realized that it's a balance between having good funding and having good police forces on that line. And it is safe for anyone. You can ride that train anytime now because of MARTA.
Yeah.
And MARTA police. We deserve that in North Carolina.
I rode the subway. I was in New York from 2001 to 2004. I rode the subway. That was my main source of transportation at all hours of the night. Now, given that it was right after Giuliani and during Bloomberg, but it was completely safe. I never felt, I never felt that it wasn't safe. But it is the judges, too. It is this no money bail and this permissiveness that if your skin color is a certain color, that you're marginalized. And hell, why should we marginalize you any further by putting you in jail after violent crime? This guy, DeCarlos Brown, beat his sister, Margot. Beat his sister.
He beat his sister. He robbed someone. And while he was out, before he was tried, he robbed somebody else.
Yeah. So multiple victims, and the victims are usually Black. That's what Eric Stevenson and I talked about last week. That's what's happening. But as we wrap up, I just want to highlight, kind of jumping back to the radicalization of schools. We've got ECU, which is in a pretty conservative town. They're hemorrhaging students. We're paying their freight, going totally radical, giving resources. Giving resources to training, gay rights training to teachers. And then we've got Asheville, right? So now we've got, I'll put this up. We've got Wilmington. So Wilmington, and this was, let me just take this down for a second. So we had Wilmington's pretty conservative. UNC Wilmington, in the same system, by the way. If you're not from here, it's out by the coast. But they had a beautiful tribute. They're fairly conservative, had a beautiful tribute to Charlie Kirk the other night. Right? So a beautiful interaction with the crowd. And then later the group went and this is a free speech rock. So you can paint it whatever way. and it was a tribute to Charlie Kirk. And, you know, that's, students have a right to do that. There's been BLM rocks, there's been all kinds of stuff, but a couple of insolent little brats came. Hold on, let me show you what happened. They came, they did not like this, and so they used...
Take the paintbrush out of her hands. Yeah, take the paintbrush out of her hands. Do not. Hey, no. Go to touch me, Holly. No, go ahead.
Yeah, someone call UPD.
Girl, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, they're coming.
Hey, everyone back away. Now.
Are you proud of yourself?
Yeah. This is great.
So that
girl is. Her name is Sophia Zambrano, and she's from Belford, Massachusetts. Which is what bothers me about this is Wilmington is in the fastest left-turning county in North Carolina, New Hanover County. And one of the problems with these schools is they keep bringing in these radicals from out of state who do things like this and change the culture in our towns, but a lot on campus.
And they allow it to happen. So this is what they ended up with: a transgender flag, and then no empathy, fuck Kirk, and Trump is a traitor. But it's being done specifically as an act against students on their own campus. So this is being inflammatory.
She needs to go back to Massachusetts. Her dad works at, I believe, he works at one of the major electronic companies. He's a bigwig. You know what? Send your kid to school in Massachusetts. You know why they come down here, Sloan? Because it's cheaper to go to school out of state at UNCW than it is to go in-state in Massachusetts. I think we should be much more hesitant to take foreign students from outside the state and outside the country than we are. And the same goes with professors.
Especially because the professor I showed you, this Blue Buchanan, he came from, sorry, I don't know why I'm doing that. He came, actually, I will give him this. He's got great weaves. The hair
That's
is
what happens when you're from California.
The hair is throwing me. He's from California. Yeah. So he looks like Don Lemon with fantastic hair.
He shaved it all off at one point, though, and looked just like
a guy. He's a good looking guy. Blue, if you're listening, you had great bone structure, man.
Do you have to say, Blue? I don't know if you know it, but there's a wrestler named Blue Buchanan.
Really?
Really? Like a WWE wrestler.
Maybe that's
the antithesis of him.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But we cannot we have set up cauldrons of hate, and we've been paying for it. And to your point, the GOP has not been aggressive enough. We need to crack down. We wouldn't want to pay for this stuff. I mean, they're literally trying to rip the country apart, and they're doing it by having these soldiers. Look, we don't know if this girl, whatever her name was, we don't know. Yeah, we don't know if she's radicalized here or there. That's the problem. You can, this Charlie Kirk shooter family, you can, all your best intentions, raise a conservative, Christ-loving child.
Well, they can take her back home and get her back there.
Yeah, I agree. We have enough problems here. But I hope the days of the GOP in the party and in elected officials sticking their head in the sand and blaming the Democrats are over.
Well, to that end, Sloan, before we get on, because I know we have a couple more memorial things we want to round up with, I don't want to hear these Republicans going after Republicans anymore. We have enough, idiocracy and deflection about the left for you all to come after other Republicans. Have some decency. Band together. It's the moment. Do it. Do it.
Well, that's coming from you. So that's quite the directive, because we're kind of known for, and I don't have a memorial wrap up, but I do have this. I wanted to put this up here because we talked a lot about, free speech and people losing their jobs. I just wanted to put this up because I feel like it's illustrative of what we're talking about, and it'll give us a good example. So this is the police chief of Durham. North Carolina. Now, if this is somebody working in a beauty salon or, I don't know, just someone that wasn't responsible for making sure people are safe, I think I'd be okay with it. But if you're outraged at the way that Charlie Kirk's being honored by people you thought you knew, are you going to keep them safe?
I think she needs to step down because this perpetuates the violence. It doesn't solve it.
Yeah, condoning, in what world do you condone any assassination? I mean, let's just say somebody, walked in on an affair or whatever. You'd probably be mad to the point where you'd want to shoot somebody, right? You're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed. I don't know. I'm just trying to okay, you in other words, what kind of situation? What's a heat of the moment
punch you in the face
example? Yeah, I mean, what in the heat of the moment, what would you get? Okay, but in this country, we're not allowed to. Revenge is not an excuse for murder.
No.
And she says that it is, though.
Well, she's disgusting, and frankly, obviously not qualified for her job. She doesn't have the mental, emotional intelligence to not know better than to put something like that out.
Right. If you want to say something like this in your private life or whatever, I mean, that's your choice. But a police chief condoning murder, I don't know. I don't think I'd feel safe there.
Well, that's why you moved.
I did. I used to run a business in Durham, you guys, and I moved when they started doing this stuff with Jews. They started saying Jews are not worthy of protection. That's so right. I got my ass out of there. And now we see, yet again, when they come for Jews, it's a matter of time before the real target is gone after. And that's Christians, because we're only 2% of the population.
Well, I'm going to repeat what you have taught me. And it's resonated with me so often. They come for the Saturday people first and then the Sunday people.
Yeah, I mean, I was there in the city that night that Yaron Latinsky and Sarah Milgram were shot dead in D.C. at the embassy because they were attending a Jewish function by a pro-Palestinian sycophant. Of course, he'd been happy just to kill, Christians or whatever. But Jews are in the line of fire. It's incredibly unsettling. But we understand now that people of the book are in the line of fire.
Correct.
Judeo-Christian values and anyone who believes or defends them are in the line of fire.
And your children who you're trying to raise to be in those books and in that life are especially in the line of fire.
And we showed you the video of Blue Buchanan. They're here for the children.
100%.
So we have a job to do. We need to keep doing it. We need to do it fearlessly. I want to thank you all for tuning in tonight. And this is a special Wednesday night. We'll see you tomorrow night too, by the way. We're not done.
Okay. We'll see you tomorrow night too. Only if you beg me.
Have a great evening, guys.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
That's a wrap on today's NC Political Tea. We hope you're leaving sharper, spicier, and ready to take on the political craziness in the Tar Heel State. If you loved what you heard, or even if it made you mad, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this show with your friends, family, and that one coworker who just needs the truth. Follow us on social media to stay in the loop and get your daily dose of conservative fire. And remember, here in North Carolina, the grassroots grows stronger when we stand together. Until next time, keep the faith, keep up the fight, and don't let the left water down your tea. This is NC Political Tea, where we spill it like it is.